Right, so hello and welcome back to another 90 Day Fiancé video on Arthur TV. Today we're back for part 2 of Big Ed's journey on 90 Day The Single Life. So last time out we looked at Big Ed's return to TV in the first 3 episodes of his brand new series. 8 months after his breakup with Rose, he decided that now was the time to put himself back on the market again. Despite joining 6 dating apps, his new love interest, a 28-year-old called Liz, was actually the manager of his favourite restaurant. He worked up the courage to ask her out, and she somewhat reluctantly agreed to go on a brunch date with him. Surprisingly, despite a slightly awkward start, it actually went pretty well. Although Liz admitted that she still had some issues she was dealing with from her past 2 divorces, she ended the date by saying she had a good time and liked Big Ed more than she thought she would. Today, we're going to be having a look as Big Ed continues to try to win Liz's heart, before he subjects us to the most excruciatingly cringe attempt at a kiss in TV history. But first, Big Ed is getting ready for their second date. And if you thought him putting mayo in his hair was weird, wait until you see this.
After our first very emotional lunch date, Liz called me the next day and told me that she wants to go out on another date. Most people don't get a second chance. Well, I got a second date. Liz will be seeing a lot more of me on this date, and I don't want her to see a hairy little animal. I want to look good for Liz.
What is it with this guy and his weird personal care routines? This is giving me flashbacks to primary school art class, paper macheing balloons and painting eggs at Easter. If you're still as confused as I was the first couple of times I watched this, he's basically covering his body in hair removal cream, with a paintbrush for some reason. But rather than expecting to get lucky on his second date with Liz, he's actually preparing to expose himself during it.
I chose goat yoga because it's different. Even though I'm not that flexible, it is very therapeutic. I love yoga. And goats.
Why is he spinning his finger around like it makes perfect sense? Liking 2 things doesn't mean they'll go great together on a first date. Like, why do goats make more sense than puppies or kittens? I guess standing around a bunch of cute animals probably wouldn't do a lot for him in comparison, whereas around goats he's probably going to blend in as just another slightly odd-looking creature.
So today is my second date with Liz, and we're doing yoga. Oh my God, she looks hot. I'd like to thank that guy that invented yoga pants, by the way. He's awesome.
He's such a little creep sometimes. You know, the fact that he did a hair removal routine before the date means he 100% thought about the fact that they're going to be wearing revealing workout clothes. And it would not surprise me if that was the sole reason he picked yoga for the date. Probably picked the one with goats to distract him so that little Ed doesn't get too excited and pop out of those tiny little shorts.
So there is one part that I may have left out. It involves goats. Hello, everybody. How are you?
Hi.
I can tell you right away, I cannot do that.
You know how in the last video we laughed at him for quoting one of his infamous quotes from his time on 90 Day Fiancé with Rose? I think I've just spotted something even worse. Look at his leg. He literally has a tattoo of his face on it. It's the same picture of his face that he uses on his merch as well. You know what? It all makes sense now. His neck must have got compressed while he was sticking his head that far up his own arse. Mystery solved.
And some softness somewhere in this pose.
Oh, fuck.
Ooh, watch the toes. It didn't really feel like yoga, only because I didn't really get to concentrate on my breathing. I was more nervous about a goat maybe pooping in front of me or stepping on me. But I think this was a cool thing to do.
You know what? Liz must either be getting paid an obscene amount of money for this, or must just be the nicest person ever. She's so positive about everything. I just can't figure out whether it's genuine or not. What do you guys think? Anyway, the goat yoga was only part of what Ed had planned. Given they weren't going to be able to talk much during the yoga, Big Ed brought along some wine and some snacks so that once they finished, they could go for a drink and spend some time getting to know each other better.
So what'd you think of yoga?
It was different. I got scared when they were like headbutting each other.
I know, right in front of you. They were like fighting. I don't want to freak you out, but there's something about you, and I mean, I like spending time with you.
Yeah.
There's not really much of a spark here, is there? Like normally on a second date, everything's still new and exciting, you're hoping the other person likes you and that it might go somewhere. So you'd kind of expect after telling the other person that you enjoy spending time with them, that they're just going to start uncontrollably cheesing and get all flustered. But she's looking at him like she just accidentally stepped barefoot into a big steaming pile of goat poop.
I'm definitely not putting myself in a position to rush again from 2 divorces, and I'm still guarded. We've grown like a great connection, but I have no problems telling Ed if I only feel like this is gonna be a friendship and not moving forward just because of my very recent heartbreak.
It's understandable that coming out of a divorce you'd want to take things slow at first, but I think you'd still expect a little more romantic interest than she's shown so far. Although she hasn't specified when her divorce was, so I guess we don't know whether it was like a year ago or last Tuesday. Either way, it's definitely a big part of what's causing her to be so reserved. But another big issue for Liz is the fact that Big Ed is 55 and she's only 28.
It does worry me though, with the whole age thing or something, like all those problems that came with like Rose would come up again. So.
Age is just a number.
I don't exactly believe in that. So.
It's funny how he only ever says that age is just a number when he's trying to justify him dating much younger women. Like, he's 55, but he refuses to date anyone older than 48. Why is he ruling out 49-year-olds if age is just a number? I know she's a consenting adult, but pulling out noncy slogans probably isn't the best way to make her feel better about the age gap.
The last thing I want to do is push her away. But I don't want just a friendship. Am I in the friend zone? I mean, tell me now, you know? Kill me now so I can move on.
To be fair, as far as dating goes, he hasn't done a lot wrong so far. The first date went okay, and the second date was a slightly rogue idea, but it was something different and it seemed like good fun. And he wasn't even that forward, like, it's not that bold to say on the second date that you enjoy spending time with someone. But I think one of Ed's big problems is the fact that he puts all of his eggs in one basket so early on. Like, he gets so invested, and I feel like he convinces himself that he's falling for girls that he barely even knows. He's just setting himself up to get hurt again, and he's still wounded from the last time he got put in the friend zone.
I was in the friend zone for 13 years. We worked together at a restaurant, and I had a crush on her, and I would ask her out to what I thought was a date, but it wasn't. It was just she was hungry. We would watch movies. I would sleep on the couch. We did everything together. For 13 years, I never had the balls to tell her how I felt. When I finally did, you know, she said, no, I don't see you that way, and she ended up moving to San Francisco and got married a month later, which was kind of odd.
To be fair, that is pretty weird. What kind of epiphany did Big Ed give her by telling her he liked her? Either way, she was right. She must be watching this like, I dodged a very large bullet there. Thankfully for Ed, despite seeming rather uninterested at any of his advances, Liz has agreed to go on a third date with him. To help him figure out whether he's in the friend zone or not, he's invited her round for dinner whilst his mum is there, so she can gauge things from a woman's point of view.
Your mom's your best judge of character when it comes to girlfriends, I think most of the time. So my mom's opinion matters. And of course, if Liz doesn't like my mom, she's out.
Wait, Liz or his mum? I mean, I joke, but in the season finale of 90 Day Fiancé, he actually said that he'd be willing to give up his relationship with his daughter for Rose in front of both of them. So I genuinely wouldn't put it past him.
Teddy, who's here? Who's here? Let's go. See who's here. Get him. Oh, no, man, we don't want any. Oh, my God, how you doing? Yeah. Hey, what smells like goat poop?
Hi, Teddy.
This man is useless. I genuinely think he heard someone say that women like a guy who can make them laugh, and he's been clinging on to it ever since because it's the only thing he has going for him. He just tries so hard to be funny. It's literally like he just says the first thing that pops into his tiny little head, and he misses with it so often.
You know, the plan is to kiss her. I mean, come on. Technically, this is date number 3. I mean, I might as well just go for it. And maybe I can get Liz in the hot tub by the end of tonight.
Oh, why did he have to make it creepy? If he'd stopped at just the kiss, he probably would have at least had a few people rooting for him. He tries to act like such a player in front of the camera, but it's like he forgets that we're still going to be watching 10 seconds later as he begs his date for a shred of reciprocated romantic interest.
I want you to know that I care about you. Just, I do. I don't want to rush. I'm not in a hurry. I'm just here. I just want you to know I'm here.
Yeah. I'm just most worried about is I love our connection, but I just don't know what I'm looking for because I wasn't looking, so.
It's interesting to see the difference between how Ed treats Liz compared with how he treated Rose. With Rose, he had the money and the route to the green card, so he kind of had all of the power in their relationship, and he definitely abused that power by pressuring Rose into doing things that she didn't really want to do, like shaving her legs, talking about her past, and even sleeping with him. But it's a big contrast with Liz, because now that he's laid his feelings out on the table, she's basically got all of the power, and he treats her so differently because of it. Despite the third date generally going quite well, it felt a lot like the first two. They had a good time, it was quite light-hearted, she even got on well with his mum, but there wasn't much of a spark, and it still doesn't really seem like Liz knows what she wants. With the date coming to an end and Ed worrying that he'd end up in the friend zone if things continued platonically, he decided that now was the time to go in for the kiss. And prepare yourselves, because this is one of the most uncomfortable scenes in 90 Day Fiancé history.
Cool.
Thank
Awesome.
you. You can't do that.
Why not? I kissed your nose.
No.
Too soon?
That kind of pushed me back.
Where?
Huh? I didn't know you were going in for that.
I didn't either. It was spontaneous.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Hi.
Okay. Bye.
That was weird.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Be careful. Drive safe.
Bye.
Goodbye.
That was physically painful to watch. Like, he didn't even just lean in for the kiss, did he? He grabbed her face with both hands and almost forced it. It wasn't even like she swerved the lips for the cheek kind of thing. She literally couldn't pull away, so she had to tilt her head down, and he kissed her nose. How's he gonna say that he's not in a rush and he's not in a hurry, and then force a kiss before the time's right or before she's ready? And given the accusations against Ed doing things without consent, this really doesn't help his cause, does it?
That was weird. Shit. I kissed her nose. I kissed her nose. Shit.
Oh my god, this is a bad one, isn't it? Do you ever do something awkward or embarrassing and just know that 8 years down the line, you're going to be lying in bed unable to sleep because you can't stop cringing at the memory? This is like that, but it's been immortalized on TV. Watching stuff like this makes me feel so much better about all the cringe stuff I've ever done. Like, no matter how bad it was, it could have been so much worse.
I think I made it very clear on where I stood when we were talking. I didn't want anything to ruin our friendship before progressing forward. I really thought we were on the same page. I feel like I've been nothing but honest, so I was shocked.
She seemed pretty upset at this point, and I assumed it was because of the face grab, but surprisingly, she actually decided to go back.
What's up? I'm sorry. I went in for the kiss.
I wasn't expecting it. Are you okay?
I'm good.
Are you sure? I don't want it to change anything.
I don't either.
I just
Did I
wasn't
fail? Did I
expecting
fuck it up?
No. No. I cared more about how you felt than anything else.
I don't understand this. He's just sat through a date where she's made it pretty clear that she wants to take things slow and continue as friends for now. He's completely ignored all of that and almost forced her to kiss him, and she's worried about how he feels. She is way too nice for him.
Like, why did I do that? Like, why do I rush?
I can't imagine you not in my life. It doesn't matter if it's friends. It doesn't matter if it's more than that. I care a lot about you.
It's just the word friend scares me. Like, to death.
I get that he's hurt from being put in the friend zone in the past, especially when it was for 13 years, but making out as if it would be the worst thing in the world to just be friends with her doesn't really do him any favors, does it? Like, it basically implies that without anything physical, the relationship isn't worth anything to him. It's not really the most genuine thing to say, is it?
I hope I didn't make you feel weird.
No.
No?
No.
No?
We're still gonna hang out.
Anyways, okay, so no kiss on the nose.
I will let you know when I get home.
Please, be safe.
All right.
Are you okay to drive?
Yes. Thank you.
Ed must have been so glad she came back. If she had left in tears, that was it. That would have been game over. Even though she's hinted at them just being friends, there's still at least a glimmer of hope for them. But it's going to need a hell of a fourth date from Big Ed, because this is not how he saw the third date playing out.
Look, this is it, man. This is life. Either you go for it or you don't. And I went for it.
He just needs to time it better. He rushed into the kiss in the exact same way he rushes into relationships. He just goes for it as soon as he sees the opportunity, rather than reading the signals and waiting for the right time. Like, I don't think he should regret trying, he just shouldn't try so hard.
Not giving up. The minute that you don't believe that there's somebody out there for you, it's over. But I don't know. I'm losing hope.
There probably is someone out there for him, he just needs to change his attitude. He needs to find someone his own age with similar hobbies as him that wants the same things as him. I worry that him taking another knockback is just going to make him even more desperate, and if he keeps jumping into things just because the opportunity's there, rather than because it's the right one, he genuinely is just going to end up alone. This definitely isn't the end of his relationship with Liz, and it's definitely not the end of his quest to fall in love, so there's still plenty more Big Ed content to come. If you enjoyed today's video and you want to make sure you catch the next one, make sure you're subscribed down below so you don't miss out. That is unfortunately all we have time for today, so as always, the links to my Instagram, Twitter and other social media will be down below. So feel free to come drop me a follow to keep up with the channel, help me decide what future videos to make, or just say hi in between uploads. I'd also just like to give a very quick shout out to my Patreon supporters for supporting me and the channel over on Patreon. Thank you for watching and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.